make everything in store. I mean, our dough's made fresh daily. All of our produce is all cut by hand every day. Dressings, sauces, everything's all done from scratch.
Burgers, tacos, pizza. Oh my! Season 7 of the No Dishes podcast is here. Once again, brought to you by Visit Bloomington. Check them out at visitbloomington.com. Especially if you live in Bloomington, you'll find out about all this cool stuff going on around town that you had no idea about. Also, please support our other advertisers on this episode. The best way to show us some love is to show them some love. You already know what I'm going to say. Play that theme song.
Hey, say, honey, let's go out to eat. Relieve our culinary duties. With all these restaurants to sweep us off our feet, they're bound to turn us into foodies. Oh, no dishes, no dishes, no dishes. We'll have a bottle of wine for lights and have a good time. No dishes. No dishes.
All right, we are here with Bucceto's. Ooh, I like that. Add a little extra boo in there. Bucceto's. Everyone knows Bucceto's. East Side, West Side, the smiling teeth, the pizza, the calzones, the salads. We have GM Adam Cornett and owner Paulie Heilbrunn, also known as Paulie Bucceto's. Fellas, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, excited to find out all about, the difference between Bucceto's and Puccini's. And you guys are, you're a big sponsors of IU Athletics. You guys always have the little race thing going on at the basketball games. So I have a million different questions. What you guys did, though, we've talked about this on other ones, is you made this as difficult as possible on me because I just stare. I need to remember to talk to you guys. I'm just going to be over here blacking out while staring at the calzones. But I've said for a long time, I think you guys have the best calzones in town. We were talking about it before we even started the chicken bada bing. And it's like, what all is in there? The
ricotta cheese, goat cheese, some fresh garlic, sun-dried tomatoes, sun-dried tomato oil, and then sliced chicken breast.
All right.
And some mozzarella cheese.
Very rare that do you see a dish or anything that has my two favorite cheeses put together, ricotta and goat cheese. Well, let's go back and just kind of start about how, Paulie, you came aboard owning such a great, local restaurant here in Bloomington.
Al?
Yeah.
So I had friends that started Puccini's in 1991.
Okay.
And they asked me to get involved with them. So we opened our first store on the east side of Bloomington in September 2004. Then we opened up on the west side
in November.
December 2006.
Okay, sweet. So you've been going for a while. And then, so now, what's the day? So Puccini's is Indy, and then Bucceto's
And there's
is...
two Puccini's in Lexington, Kentucky, too.
Really? Okay, cool. But you guys just said, hey, we want to have a different brand for
There
Bloomington?
was a Puccini's restaurant called Puccini's on 4th Street down here.
Oh, okay.
So we couldn't call ourselves Puccini's. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, see, that's what I was wondering. Okay, so
They went out of business a few years ago.
Yeah.
And we had the opportunity to change to Puccini's, but we didn't.
Yeah, well, at this point, you've worked very hard to build up the name recognition.
By that point.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so you've been going at it for quite some time. And what would you say is like your favorite? Like, you're like, hey, if you're coming into Bucceto's for the first time, like this is what you've got to get.
To me, it's a Razorback.
Is this the Razorback?
Yeah. That seems to be everybody's favorite, everybody's go-to.
So what do we got here? We got bacon, pepperoni.
Smoked sausage, for a little bit of fresh garlic, and a little bit of fresh basil.
My God.
Yeah.
Our Ultimate Warriors, what's normally called the meat lovers, with the supreme with pepperoni, sausage, black olives, green peppers, and everything. But what the meat lovers love is the Razorback.
Yeah,
no veggies, just straight.
That's like the
pork.
Go-to everybody. You mentioned Bucceto's, everybody's like, oh, I love the Razorback.
For me, I like the rosemary cream chicken. It's a pasta dish.
Oh, okay.
It's made with an Alfredo base, and it's got mushrooms and sun-dried tomatoes.
Do you guys ever find yourself like you've both been there for a long time going off menu? Do you have like a go-to off menu thing that you make?
The longer I've worked in like just in pizza and Bucceto's in general, I go simple. You know? I do taste change over a long time. Like when I was younger, I used to go to a lot of try to like get extravagant about things and experiment and stuff. And the older I've gotten, it's more simple.
Yeah.
I go for a basic cheese pizza quite a bit.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I was talking to some friends the other day about how when I was younger, I didn't like Caesar, I didn't like blue cheese, I didn't like Mountain Dew. And then as I got older, those are all things that like I gradually come to like. And then Mountain Dew I still like with pizza or barbecue, like pulled pork.
Yeah.
That's it. Normally I'm like not really drinking soda, but there's something about those two that to me, and maybe I'll grow out of it eventually. Or like olives. The thing was like, I found out if you always try something like that, blue cheese or Caesar, it's like the cheap version. It's like, oh, I don't like this. No. But then you try like the nice version, and then you're like, oh, I get it. I get what this is going for, what it's supposed to be. Because the first time I had like a really bougie, like blue cheese stuffed olive, I'm like, oh, now I kind of get the appeal of olives, whereas I never did before that, you know? So Adam, how did you become involved with Buccettos, and how long you been around?
I started with Puccini's up in Indy, August of 2000.
Wow,
I was in there for a long time. Worked up there until 2010. I actually helped open the West Side location back in 06. 2008, we ended up, Puccini started coming in and getting involved with both the stores down here a lot more. I came down 2008, and I've actually was based down here pretty much ever since. There's a brief period, like right during pandemic, I actually worked for Kroger for a couple of years, but then Paul called me and brought me home.
Hey, buddy, we would love to have you back. Yeah, that's good. Obviously, you enjoyed your first run enough that you're like, yeah, absolutely.
19 years, and then came back, and it's been another, it's been almost about 3.5 years now.
Well, I'm sure just the difference of working for a large corporation like Kroger.
Day and night.
Yeah, you're just like, I'll go back to the more hometown local feel.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great, man. So did you say you had pizza experience before Puccini's?
Couple of chain places, Little Caesars, Noble Romans.
Okay.
Noble Romans, which nobody talks about anymore.
Yeah. You know? Oh, no, I remember going in. So the laser tag place I worked at through high school, we had a Noble Romans. And so that was like, I really enjoyed, it was working concessions, but that was my only pizza experience in my 15, however many years in restaurants. But I remembered like the full blown restaurant where, you go in and everyone remembers Noble Romans for you watch them make the pizza and spinning the dough. And for some reason as a kid, that's just, fascinating.
Yeah.
Was that up there in the Indy or?
I went to, it was in Zionsville.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
okay.
That's where I grew up.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah. My parents are over there like 116th and Shelbourne. So don't go find my parents.
Yeah.
So how long, I already mentioned the connection with IU Athletics. Has that been an ongoing, how long has that been a partnership for you guys?
We opened in 04. I'd say we hooked up with IU Athletics in probably 2005.
Yeah, wasted no time. You're like, we're getting on. Let's go. Yeah. So who did you just kind of reach out and said, hey, we want to be involved. We want to sponsor.
I was looking how to reach out to them. And a few days after I put some feelers out, a guy called me randomly.
Just by chance.
Yeah.
And just said, hey, would you like to, we're looking for sponsors for the schedule or this or that.
Yeah, I was the easiest sell he ever had. Man, I've been trying to get a hold of you.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he was glad to hear that. Yeah, he's like, so I'm not cold calling. He's like, yeah, totally. I'm just returning your call. So where did you come up with the idea for the race? Because that's something that I feel like is...
I think IU came up with that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And they've changed it through the years without it. It's a new version now.
Yeah.
So they change it every few years.
But you were just like, hey, we want to do this. And they're like, hey, we're doing a race. And that's because to me, that's just something that it stands out, which is good for an ad. It's an advertisement. And for that to stand out from your experience at Assembly Hall watching hopefully great basketball at the time, obviously that's what what you want. So that's it's great that you guys have found that.
When we took over the Puccini's location in Columbus, Indiana, I had to go in front of the Alcohol Commission to get the beer and wine license transferred.
Yeah.
And the first thing the commissioner said is, they swore me in. Then he said, hey, if I go to an IU basketball game, is that Buccetto's I see on the scoreboard? And I said, yes, sir.
Made the rest of the hearing a little easier.
I guess, yeah.
So had you had experience in restaurants before coming on board?
No, I had not.
Yeah, they were just buddies of yours that said, hey, we want help doing some Bloomington stuff for the most part?
We didn't have the location in Bloomington at the time we started
that's right.
talking.
Okay.
So then that opportunity came up.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, we're going to go take over the Bloomington market and show them what's up. You're like, no, maybe not your words, but yeah. So Paulie, what's your background, I guess? Where are you from? And let's start from, pre-2000 then.
So I was born outside of Detroit, and we moved to Indianapolis when I was about 6 or 7, second grade. And I've been in the wholesale natural food business, and then I was a commodity futures broker.
Oh, wow.
And then I got involved with the restaurants.
There you go. Wow. How long were you doing the futures broker?
My partner still has the business, but we probably about 15 years.
Wow, that's a fascinating industry. That's there might not be any, but are there any correlations or anything that taught you that you found transferred over to running restaurants?
Not really.
Like not at all. They're two completely different beasts.
I was in the soft drink business for a couple of years.
Yeah, okay.
And that's where I got interested in futures because the sugar price, that was in the late 70s, and the sugar price was jumping so fast, and we were giving grocery stores like 90-day promotions. So I was buying sugar futures to hedge our sugar cost.
Whoa, okay.
And then so I got involved in the futures.
Yeah, the next thing you know, you're just enveloped in it and you're trading all types of different commodities. Huh, that's fascinating. That's cool. Adam, how about yourself? What's your original, where are you from and up until, coming on board?
Grew up just right outside Zionsville, Indiana. Pretty much started working for Puccini's right as soon as I graduated high school.
Oh, okay. So you're like, there's not too much to cover, dude. You're like, I told you you're from Zionsville.
Yeah.
So what is it that you guys, the thing that stands out to me when I've come into Puccini's, whether it's the salad, everything just seems very fresh. What is it that you guys are doing that accomplishes that?
Make everything in store. There's very little stuff that we bring in. Of course, we're not making our own pepperoni and smoked sausage and stuff like that. We buy all that stuff in, but our dough's made fresh daily. All of our produce is all cut by hand every day. Dressings, sauces, everything's all done from scratch. So it's one thing too. We were talking about is our gluten-free menu. That's one reason why a lot of our menu we can do gluten-free. I'd say probably 65% of our 70% of our menu can get gluten-free.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have gluten-free pasta, we have gluten-free pizzas, sandwiches, salads. Pretty much a whole
appetizers.
Yeah, appetizers.
Yeah. Well, that's huge. I'm sure probably, in your guys' time, the extensive time you've had, you've probably seen that become more and more important to your bottom line as far as the percentage of people coming through the door specifically for gluten-free stuff.
Yep.
How much are you paying for your restaurant's business insurance? What's affordable for your needs? What does your agent do for you that isn't just policy writing? Tony Brown with First Insurance Group has a keen eye for the policies all restaurant owners and operators would love to have. Tony provides risk management and other HR resources free of charge as your agent. Tony has no waiting period for loss of business coverage starting from day one, minute one, unlike other carriers' 72-hour waiting period. Tony has no audit for liquor liability and general liability, saving you time so you can focus on running your restaurant. And Tony's insurance carrier is the preferred vendor of choice for the Indiana Restaurant and Lodging Association. Call or text Tony Brown with First Insurance Group today, 812-327-2321. Set up a free review of your current policy and see how Tony can help you protect your largest investment, your business. 812-327-2321. Are you wanting to move better, feel better, and live better? Look no further than Move Bloomington, where their small group personal training programs are designed to improve strength, balance, and flexibility. With a welcoming environment, their expertly guided workouts can help you feel supported in the life and activities you love in and out of the gym. Whether you're new to exercise, a lifelong athlete, or anywhere in between, their dedication to personalized programming will deliver sessions that meet you where you are. Get started today using the code NODISHES to get 50% off their 3-session Kickstart program. Bloom Magazine's second annual restaurant survey is live. Vote now for your favorite places for food and drink in any or all of the 25 categories. And don't miss the new category. Scroll all the way to the end to vote for the best restaurant in Bloomington. Use the QR code or go to magbloom.com/food. That's magbloom.com/FOOD to vote now. I mean, since you started versus now, what's it probably been? Tenfold?
God, yeah. I remember when I first started, like probably 2003, 2004, like the Atkins diet thing went crazy.
Yeah.
That blew up. And then I'd say we started the gluten-free probably 2008, 2009, something like that. And the indie stores, it took off like crazy. It took a little bit longer down here, but the indie stores, it took off right off the bat.
We were one of the first restaurants to offer gluten-free. Now almost all of them do, but they don't offer as an extensive choice as we do.
Yeah, Norm, maybe it's 15 to 20%, whereas you're doing 75 to 80.
Well, most people, it's like, do you have gluten-free options? Like, when we have a gluten-free menu, it's a whole different thing. People see it, they're just like, whoa.
Yeah, you're like, all right.
When we first got it, I used to go, I'd be out at Target and people would stop me. Oh, thank you so much for your gluten-free menu. I've been gluten-free for 6 months, and they swear by it.
Yeah, well, just having options and not feeling like you're pigeonholed. I mean, that's why it's so great with Brightside Cafe now, where everything's gluten-free, and it's just like, oh man, I can get a chocolate chip scone. Whereas like where else in town, before they opened, you couldn't find a gluten-free chocolate chip scone. So it's really nice that, you guys obviously been doing it for a long time, but that more and more people are realizing that there's so many people that want to, give you their business, but they maybe, have celiac, or they're on a gluten-free diet, or they just have a mild sensitivity and they're just trying to avoid it. So you guys are just like, hey, we did this a long time ago. So do you see, I guess, what's it's probably tough to say. Would you say maybe 30% of your sales are gluten-free menu items, or?
I'd say probably 15 to 20.
Okay, that's still really high.
15%.
Yeah, because for like us, like 10% of our sales are vegan, dairy-free ice cream. And it's tough though, because people want more and more options, but we're also like, man, it's 10% is good, but it's still like nothing compared to the overall, so that's always tough for us. So it's like, do we come up with more seasonals, or do we just stick with the full diesel 14% butterfat and say, hey, these are the vegan ice creams this is what we got, well, that's still, man, that's a lot. That's a lot of people coming through. Because I specifically, everything you said makes sense as far as cutting the produce in store, making all the sauces. Have you been able to develop any of your own recipes, or has everything kind of stayed the same for the most part since you started?
Not much fluctuated in the past probably 10 years. I mean, we've added some stuff back, like when we had the rosemary cream chicken and all that, but not much has changed.
Yeah, you're like, hey, this is not broke. We
kind of played around with doing some like specialty pizzas and doing some specials on the weekends, like just trying to come up with some different, pizza ideas and stuff like that. That they did that probably like 2020, 2021 for a little while, and then we stopped. But we're thinking about actually starting back up on that again. We're probably started venturing out a little bit first of the year.
I haven't looked at Yelp in ages. You guys are killing it though. You got the full 4 stars. Yeah. All looks so good. So the pasta, are you guys making the pasta in house? No, that's the one. No. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a whole.
That's hard. Yeah. all of our like dried pasta we get's all DeCecco brand, and we've got there's a company in Indianapolis called Pastabilities.
Oh, nice.
That makes our ravioli and makes lasagna sheets.
That's great. So you're still getting local pasta.
Yep.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, tell me a little bit more about your pasta offerings.
Oh gosh. Well, we have like basil pesto, the rosemary cream chicken, like a homemade tomato sauce, meat sauce.
Our Diablo's our most popular pasta.
Diablo's like a tomato cream and white wine sauce.
Ooh,
you can get it spicy or mild. That was our best-selling pasta up until we put the rosemary cream chicken on the menu. Now the rosemary cream chicken's killing it. Yeah. Trying to think, lasagna, ravioli.
Basil pesto. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yeah. So you're getting the lasagna sheets, but you're making the lasagna.
We have clam sauce, white clam sauce, and red clam sauce.
Oh wow! And I feel like that's super unique. I don't feel like there's anywhere else in town that I've seen.
No, that's an old school thing. But you don't see it very much anymore. But we've kept it. Yeah, we've definitely kept it on the menu.
Yeah,
that's been on there since day one.
So you guys have the east side location, the west side location. Mm-hmm. Would you consider your east side kind of your mothership, or like are they kind of both equally, have their own charm?
They're both a little bit different. Every restaurant's a little bit different and stuff. But I mean, I think more people know the east side location more than the west side.
Right.
But then, west side people tend to stay on the west side of town most of the time.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. We've got people that come to the west side store that didn't even know the east side store was over there. So, it's.
Well, it's just nice. I mean, we've talked about it on this podcast at length. I mean, the west side is just chain city. It's just all chain. So there's essentially just you guys, which you're a chain in your own right, but you're not Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah.
You're local.
Not corporate. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so it's essentially you guys, Carson's Barbecue, Chef's Table, and then Ale's Ice Cream, I think, are like the only 4 local places I can think of on the west side.
Yeah.
The rest are O'Charlie's, Olive Garden, and
Yeah.
so it's nice that people have that option
Yeah.
over there. And I guess the pizza maybe isn't as competitive on the west side as it would be in the rest of town, or is that, correct me if I'm wrong? I guess you've got Mother Bears over
Yeah, we
there.
still got Mother Bears over there, so I mean, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah. Did that affect you guys very much when they opened over there?
Not really,
yeah,
no.
I feel like they scratch different itches as far as like if I'm like the pizzas are so different that I'm not like if I'm craving one or the other.
Yep.
You know, it's not just overalls. That's the east side's been a go-to for me. If I recall, you guys have a really good cheesecake. I don't know if you might buy it in, but it's
Carnegie Deli.
That's what it was. Yeah. Cause it was just like, man, I remember like, man, their cheesecake. So yeah, the pricing on that, I mean, I can't imagine it's cheap to buy Carnegie Deli cheesecake.
Not at all. No. It's still not that expensive. What do we sell it for? It's under $7.
Really?
I think it's $6.25, but I'm not sure.
Wow.
Sure.
I mean, that's a steal though. If you're getting like the real deal.
Yeah. All our desserts are really good.
Yeah, I saw no tiramisu, and so you're buying them in, but you're buying in like the top quality stuff that you can get.
Yep.
We used to make them years ago in house.
Tiramisu we used to make a long time ago. I got a funny story about tiramisu.
I mean, that's it's tough though, especially if you have a distributor bring in a really good sample of a high-end product and you're like, man, this tastes just as good as ours and we can save ourselves so much time.
The tiramisu that we made in-house, it was so good, but we'd make like a big, 12 by 24 pan of it. The first time I ever made it, they gave me the recipe book and told me to go and follow these instructions. Well, I followed the instructions and I realized the part that I was reading, the part that actually has the alcohol part, there was rum, Kahlua, I think some rum in it. Mm-hmm. I was reading the 4 times batch recipe and I put it into a single batch and had no idea. I was like 20 years old and I'm sitting there trying the whipped cream and starting to see if this is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's getting warm in here.
Yeah. Like I was back there feeling loose.
I told the manager at the time, I told him, I think I might have messed this up. And he goes, this should be fine. It's no big deal. Next day we had a table. 2 ladies came in and ate it, and they're just like, can you call us a cab?
Oh, my God.
We didn't serve any more of it after that.
But you realized quickly after serving.
We probably made it for a few months after that, and then we ended up getting it. We found a really good brand that our food distributor carried and went that way. So.
Still, I mean, you might be able to sell that on purpose, just like super boozy tiramisu. Especially,
not a bad idea.
Yeah. I want 10% of all sales. So then last but not least, the calzones. I've spoken so highly about them. Is it the same dough as the pizza dough and just how you shape it and that's all it is?
It's just same dough, just folded.
Yeah, when I wrote the review about the chicken bada bing way back during the pandemic, we talked about it before we started recording when we did the bingo and all that. The biggest thing I remember was just how you get this little box, and first off, it's a work of art. It's beautiful. But I remember like getting it and just being like, oh shit, like it is heavy, like it is dense.
It's a meal.
There's no place like home for the holidays. Don't miss Constellation Stage and Screen's family holiday musical, The Wizard of Oz, on stage December 12th through 29th at the Buskirk Chumley Theater. Travel down the yellow brick road with Dorothy and Toto in a whimsical journey filled with iconic songs and dazzling choreography. An absolute delight for audiences of all ages, The Wizard of Oz invites you to discover the magical power of home. See The Wizard of Oz on stage this holiday season, December 12th through 29th in downtown Bloomington. Find tickets at cconstellation.org. The No Dishes Podcast is brought to you by visitbloomington.com. VisitBloomington.com is the best resource for restaurant and culinary information, special events, fun activities, places to stay, and more in our area. We share a similar mission here on the No Dishes Podcast of highlighting local businesses and the people who make our community unique. We can't thank them enough for hopping on board. Check them out at visitbloomington.com to easily plan your next meal, visit, or night out on the town. Yeah, well, it honestly is one of the best deals, I think, because it's not even that expensive.
I want to say they're $9.40 plus tax.
Yeah, it's under $10, and you could easily split that into 2 meals. Yeah. And it's like, and then you're not getting, normally if you're getting a meal for $5, it's going to be low quality ingredients. So I don't know if you're just making it on volume, but props to you guys for offering high quality at an affordable price, because that's, I mean, I know how much shit costs nowadays, and it's not cheap.
It's not cheap at all.
So hopefully, because you're making so much in house, you've been able to avoid maybe some of that other people have really taken on the chin.
We've got, for restaurants, we've got pretty high food costs compared to most other restaurants, but it's because of that. It's because we use really high quality ingredients.
Yeah, but
we're not trying to cut corners.
Yeah, but make up for it in volume, and you're covering your labor. What kind of breakdown do you guys have between dine-in versus carry-out?
I'd say it's coming back after the pandemic. I mean, after the pandemic, it got dropped way low. Used to, I'd say we were probably like 80-20, somewhere around there.
80 dine-in.
Yeah.
80-20 for dine-in. And then after the pandemic hit, I mean, it just killed dine-in.
Of course, yeah.
And we were probably, I'd say 2022-4, we were probably at like maybe 30-70 for a while, like 30% dine-in. It's probably back to, I'd say about 60-40, I'd say, somewhere around there. So it's slowly coming back to what it was, but it's, still dining's still a lot, not quite what it used to be.
Yeah, but it's so great though, and it's very approachable. I mean, I've dined in West Side, East Side, and it's casual. You walk in, and usually you've got like one of the server that's just like, "Hey, hon, how you doing?" Yeah. I think of it almost like my service experience, like going to like a Cloverleaf. And I don't know if that's always the case, but for me, it has been. Yeah. And you just feel very welcome and just like, "Oh, how are you doing? I'm doing great. Hey, can I get a sweet tea, please?" And then you guys run lunch specials every day, right?
Mm-hmm. We've got our sliced salad and drink special. That's $9.40 plus tax. Every day we do a meat slice and a veggie slice.
It's Monday through Friday, 11 to 4.
11 to 4.
Great. Oh wow, you're going till 4. That's good to see. That's good to know.
Yep.
Most places are stopping at 2.
Yep.
And I'm a lot of times a late lunch eater.
Yeah.
So I had no idea you guys went till 4. That's a game changer.
Till 4.
Our lunch, we're open all the way through, but our lunch special is available until 4.
That's great.
We've got some smaller portions of some of our pastas. You can get a smaller portion of Alfredo, pesto.
Lunch portion.
Okay, yeah.
But the dinner menu's available all day. It's
right, but that's still nice where, again, especially with pasta, you're like, dude, I don't need to just put myself into a coma. I'm like in the middle of my workday.
You can if you want to.
No, yeah. I always want to, but should I is the other question. So that's nice that you guys offer that. Is there any lore or anything behind Bucceto's that we haven't talked about? Any stuff that you guys are doing, anything people should know about between the history or what you're currently doing between Bucceto's, Puccini's, you name it?
You give me anything, that's pretty,
Yeah, we've been pretty extensive through the menu and, why you weren't able to be, call it Puccini's in the first place, Do you guys get the opportunity? So is there a reason, I guess, that you don't do, or do you do your own delivery?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Before the pandemic.
So you did pre-pandemic, and then what's been maybe, you're like...
But we still have delivery. It's just powered by DoorDash. So if you go to our website, you have an option for carry out or delivery. And it's better than DoorDash because we don't have to pay any commissions if it comes through our website.
Yeah, DoorDash storefront.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
We did that for a while. We've now switched over to another third party that still utilizes DoorDash. But yeah, even before we did that, if you go and order DoorDash through the website, it's called DoorDash storefront, then there's 0 commissions for the restaurant. So that's just great to know for Bucceto's, for Chocolate Mousse, you name it. A lot of times you'll get the same food, you'll get the same service, you'll get the same person driving it to your door. But you're saying it's better for you, it's better for the restaurant.
Yeah.
So you guys just, I guess, coming out, you're like, hey, we used to have our own drivers. That was probably a pain from insurance and hiring.
We just couldn't find anybody that wanted to drive. I mean, I think after the pandemic, that's when the delivery services really took off, and they took most of the drivers.
Yeah.
So it's just, we used to have a delivery driver on every night, 7 days a week, and then after pandemic,
sometimes 2 and 3. When we first opened, we did a ton of delivery because weren't that many restaurants that offered a full menu like we did. It was pizza joints or I don't know. But
or just getting pasta delivered to your door before DoorDash. No one else was really doing that. Yeah.
Then like B-Town menus came along and all those. And that
Mr. Delivery.
Yep. And it seemed like after that, like slowly, we still did decent delivery business and stuff, but it's just hard to find people to,
Yeah, it's wild.
We're not really a volume place, I guess, for delivery like we used to be, like when we first opened the store. I mean,
again, now you're more carry out, dine in, and then delivery is more of a bonus instead of your bread and butter.
So we still do quite a bit of delivery through DoorDash, but like when we did it in store, we probably get 10 to 15 deliveries a night per store or something like that. It's not like we're getting 50 or 40 or something like that.
Or you're just getting smoked. Yeah. Huh. Did you, I don't know if what your experience was, but that you just kind of, it was a little nostalgic for me when you said B-Town menus. Because when we were in the old Chocolate Mousse stand, you know, we were Mr. Delivery and B-Town menus. And B-Town menus was the big boy on the block.
Oh, yeah.
They got all the volume. They were 80%
You were
market
their
share
first
probably.
customer,
Yeah,
weren't
we
you?
were their very first
really?
customer.
Yeah. Wow.
And up at Purdue, we were Hungry Boiler, which was a knockoff of B-Town menus. We were their first customer too.
Huh. Okay. So you obviously saw the value in it. So you guys, between that and the gluten-free,
Well, they didn't even have the business when they made the proposal to me. They were just young college kids. So I said, okay, because I like, you know, they were entrepreneurs.
Yeah, you want to.
I said, I didn't know if they'd ever get it off the ground, but I said, okay, I'm in, you know.
Yeah. Well,
They
that was
did.
nice. That
They
probably
did
just
it.
getting that one yes meant like, okay, we're going to keep plowing ahead with it.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. But it was like I'm going to ask you what the next trend is because you're ahead of the time on that. You're ahead of the time on the gluten free. I'm going to call Paulie in a month. Be like, hey, what's the next
You
thing?
got to ask Adam.
I don't
I'm not
know.
too
You
good
see
at that
the-
anymore. I'm getting old, Jordan.
Trust me, I feel our staff always makes me feel very old, especially at our Bloomington store. But yeah, it was so fascinating to me. So DoorDash comes to town. We had told them like, no, we're good. You know, B-Town Menus does a ton of volume. We're happy with just having these two, you know. But they would come in and they'd still list us on their website and people would come in and pay with this debit. They would just come in and place a carry out.
Yeah.
And it pissed me off.
yeah.
And so you guys had that same thing
yeah.
happen to you guys.
Yes. DoorDash did. We didn't have it with that, but Grubhub was the big one.
Really?
And then also
Uber Eats.
Uber Eats did that a lot, but people were ordering through Postmates, which isn't even represented in Bloomington.
No, I
people
know,
were
yeah.
ordering on us through Postmates, and then Uber Eats was coming in and ordering it for the customer.
Such a cluster.
And then the customer would call us and get upset about it. And we're like, we have no idea what you.
Yeah.
We don't even know what Postmates is. You know.
Yeah.
And it caused some problems.
Yeah, well,
know?
that's what we were.
Yeah.
So we called DoorDash and we're like, "Hey, like, take us off. You don't have our permission."
Yeah.
They're like, "Well, we're just coming in and ordering food. Like,
Yeah.
nothing you can really do about it." Like, God, it's so stupid. And then we end up, you know, comes around where we see the volume dropping on the other one. So we give DoorDash a shot. We bring Grubhub on. We bring Uber Eats. So at one point, I think we had like 5.
Yeah.
You know, and then Mr. Delivery changed to delivery.com. They went their own way. B-Town Menus kind of went away.
Yeah.
And then we noticed that with DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats, that we were 80% DoorDash. Like, I don't know if you guys experienced similar,
We
but
do a ton.
DoorDash just blew the other two out of the water. And we would have so many issues with orders not getting picked up or stuff with Uber Eats. Grubhub, we got it rid of once, came back, and they still pester. Well, now we're just DoorDash. And you can order through our app or website, and it uses DoorDash drivers, like you mentioned. But we just stopped with Uber Eats and Grubhub, and they'll call us and be like, hey, we've got this new initiative, and things are going to be so different. And I'm like, I'm over it. Like, please stop calling.
We had the same thing with Toast and with Slice.
Oh, yeah,
they call us
POS.
all the time, but
It's like, so, hey, we're good. We're rolling. When it's like, again, I think Uber Eats and Grubhub, we both got rid of them and gave them both a second chance. Both had very little volume. And the biggest thing was just, again, like picking up, like saying orders were picked up. They were never picked up.
Yeah.
And nothing more frustrating than you doing your part to get an order ready, get it ready properly to make the customer happy. And then it's just out of your hands.
Yeah. I think more with us was we were getting people going on and just literally ordering from us, either saying they didn't get the food or, you know, saying everything was wrong. They would, you know, next thing we check our emails the next day, and we've got a email saying that this customer was credited, you know, for their order, blah, blah, blah. And it'd be the same people over and over again, just going in and just, you know, canceling orders.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that's what it was with Grubhub. Now that you mentioned that.
They made it easy. If you ordered through the app, they would send you a notification and said, was everything okay with your order? You just have to give it 1 star and they credit you with our money.
Exactly.
So once kids found out about that, they just push 1 every time. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm so glad you mentioned that. It was Uber Eats, the issue was orders not getting picked up. Grubhub, the issue was, I said, hey, have you changed your refund policy? You know, because I was like,
they did change it finally.
I know, and that's why we gave them a second shot. Because we're like, we're not bringing you back if people can just consistently lie and say it's, you know, bad and it wasn't. Better business, better community. For over a century, the Greater Bloomington Chamber of Commerce has been a cornerstone of business growth and community development. They are dedicated to helping local businesses thrive. Their business is all about your business. Join the Chamber today. Call 812-336-6381 or visit chamberbloomington.org to learn more. The Bloomington Town Planner is a community calendar owned and published by local residents John and Sharon Martin. Mailed out to Bloomington homes in December of each year, it features school schedules and community events. And don't forget the coupons at the bottom of the calendar. They'll save you money and help you decide on the next restaurant or retailer to check out here in the Bloomington area. Town Planner also has an online calendar which can be found at townplanner.com. Make sure to sign up for their weekly e-newsletter so you can stay on top of all the fun events going on around town.
And Uber Eats would pick up multiple orders at the same, have one driver pick up 2 or 3 orders.
Yeah.
And they would mix them up and drop them off at the wrong place. And then they'd credit them, but you would think they would know it was the driver because they're getting 2 orders saying they got the wrong food from the same driver at the same time.
I mean, it's a blessing and a curse. We obviously, appreciate the extra, whatever, $1,500 a week or something we get from DoorDash. Like, that's great. That really helps towards the bottom line. But again, you're losing the control over the quality. You're losing, you're handing it off and just hoping that they do their part.
Yeah.
And then I have one guy that's consistently like, hey, it just didn't show up. And I'm just like, what do you do? So it's, we've thought it. We're like, man, should we just do our own delivery? But again, I've heard it's not very easy to do your own.
Yeah.
It's such a pain in the ass where I'm just like, maybe we'll just deal with it in the meantime. But glad to know we're not the only ones dealing with those issues, and we're in it together. That's why I like having everybody on here. We can just share some of our gripes that when we're dealing with the same stuff. It's like, oh, this happened to you too? Oh, screw that. Do you guys get? Obviously, I know you both work a lot. Do you guys get to venture out very much into town?
Paul does.
Yeah, I do more than that.
I know. I get to see Paul around quite a bit. But yeah, not so much.
Not too much. I'm a creature of habit, but I used to go to falafels a lot downtown.
Oh yeah,
of course,
nice.
they went out of business.
Yeah.
So now I'm mad.
Yeah. You're like, I eat at work, I stay at home.
Need a new place to go. So
yeah. So what was it that you like to get at falafels?
I just got their house salad was one of my favorite things.
Okay.
Yeah, they used to have a house salad and it had like fried pita chips on the outside of it.
Ooh.
I think it was phenomenal.
Yeah, just haven't been able to find a replacement.
No.
Yeah, well, again, you're lucky. If you're a salad guy, you guys obviously have great salad. So,
but their falafel and their gyro too were incredible.
Have you tried the falafel from Doner Kebab?
No, I haven't. I've heard about it.
Phenomenal. Hamid, who was our most watched episode of the podcast ever. Hamid with the Doner Kebab food truck. People just love the shit out of him with good reason, but they also love his food. Yeah. And he does his own falafel and takes the time to marinate. Whatever the process is, it's apparently a fairly labor intensive, but he does it and he does it right. So you should 100% go try it.
I'll check it out.
Just be like, hey, Jordan sent me. And, see what happens. Paulie, what are some of your favorite haunts?
To eat?
Yeah, eat, drink, whatever, man.
I mean, I eat at Uptown. I eat at
Do you have a go-to order at Uptown?
I love the pan-seared walleye with mashed potatoes and vegetable. That's my favorite meal.
They do fish so well there. And I've had that pan-seared walleye specifically. It's delicious.
I eat at the Elm, C3. I eat at Upland, the Ollery I eat at.
Nice.
Once a week or something.
Did you think about buying the Ollery, bringing it under your umbrella?
We were talking to him. Yeah. It's last week.
Just didn't make sense?
He says he has other buyers. I don't know.
Yeah. That'd be cool. Yeah. I mean, $55,000. It's like, well, might as well give it a shot. You got a spot on the square. Even if you don't keep it at the Ollery, you do something with it. But yeah, I was shocked when I saw it. I was like, oh, that's it? It's like, I might be able to get a loan for that, and I don't even have any money.
Did you call it all? Or
no, they, Mike and Endeavor and Wow, they had reached out about buying the chocolate mousse at one point, and we went through all that, and obviously we're like, now we're at the end, we're like, yeah, we're good, we're fine. But I think that's like the last one they kind of have. They had so many. They offloaded K-Bello, offloaded Southern Stone, which actually just closed.
Are they done?
As far as I know, I need to reach out to Brandon, who is the guy that bought it. But from what I could tell, it's done. I've got a fairly good rapport with Brandon, so I need to just shoot him a message and be like, hey, man, how are things? You okay? What's happening? Maybe we'll do that when we're done. Usually if I hear something, I want to just stay out of the way because I'm sure he's dealing with a bunch. If he's having to close his restaurant, that's not fun for anybody.
Yeah, we've got somebody that works part-time for us that was working for him. So.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's, I don't know. It seems like it is. So.
Mike still has Hoosier Hanks down.
Yeah. So I was going to say that's the last one. I think that he's going to hang on to that from what I could tell. And That's like the one like, hey, we got Hoosier Hanks and the old Avers Public House there on the east side. And then I think he still has Rusty Gator and like Pub 15
in Bedford.
Bedford. But as far as Bloomington, I mean, man, he used to have 8 or 9 and down to 2 ones on the market. You mentioned C3. I just went there for his little 6-month anniversary dinner, and Allison and Mick DiMatteo and the whole crew. I mean, they just do such a phenomenal job over there. We did these little crispy beef tenderloin, Asian sauce, sesame seeds, little appetizer. It was great. My girlfriend did their espresso martini, which Nick Matteo makes.
Their bars.
Incredible. I mean, him and it's essentially, and I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody, but him and Doug Spradley, when it comes to mixologists in town, Doug at Farm and Matty at C3, and then Elm obviously does an incredible job with Leah and their cocktails there too. But yeah, man, and Matty, I mean, he consults with a lot of places around town as far as coming up with their stuff. But he came over, chatted with us for a while. I did their chef special, which was I think it was an airline chicken with like a cream. It was a mascarpone polenta. And I'm like, again, just like you say, ricotta and goat cheese together.
Yeah.
Like, oh, give me those 2 things together. Like, I'm in. I'm sold. And then my girlfriend did the salmon, which they're another place, just like uptown with the walleye. You get C3, any fish they're doing, and it's going to be like top tier. It's going to be excellent. Have you had any favorite dishes you've come across at Elm? You know, they're always rotating. As you had one that you're like, oh man, that really stood out.
They're always changing the menu, but I either eat the fish or they have some dynamite vegetarian options.
Yeah. Do you try to eat some veggie options as a?
I'm not vegetarian, but I eat a lot of vegetarian.
Yeah, well, I was going to say between that comment and mentioning the Allery, I figured that might have been the case. So that's good. That's where you're like, yeah, I'm not full blown. I can go eat a slice of meat pizza if I want, but you're still not doing it all the time. Just hammering beef.
It sticks to fish.
Yeah, a little pescatarian. Yeah. Well, I had one other thing for you. Oh, it seems like you guys do a ton with Greek life at IU, for what I've seen, because we also, do, a bunch of philanthropies at the sororities. And I swear, maybe not so much recently, but for years, anytime we showed up somewhere, you were there, Bucceto's was there. Is that
before the pandemic, we did a lot more.
Okay. So
then, so if you're the new philanthropy chair or whatever, you look at what they did last year. So, but then after the pandemic, they didn't do any events for 2 or 3 years.
Right.
So you have to reach back out to
They're
them.
starting from scratch.
And, I'm getting older, so I haven't had as much ambition. But tonight, I'm going to the Pan-Hellenic Council meeting, which is all the sororities.
Nice.
Making a presentation, so we're building it back up.
That's great. Well, go ahead and name drop Chocolate Mousse while you're there, if you don't mind.
I will.
We're like, and our friends at the Chocolate Mousse. It's like, Paulie, I'll give you as many free ice cream tubs as you want. Well, that makes sense.
We used to do an event. I can't remember who it was for together. I would do the food and you bring the ice cream. It was out of Florida. You don't remember who that was?
Oh man, was that the theater students?
No. One of the Kennedy family members is the head of it.
Okay,
it's out of Florida.
Yeah, I know. I'm like picturing again because we had so many, and you're right. It almost all was pre-pandemic. Where I swear, almost every big event we showed up to, it was us and Bucceto's. It was like, I was like, hey, what up? Like, long time no see. Saw you last week. And I never know that you'd be there until we showed up. And I was like, should have known. Well, hey, great taste, good pizza, good ice cream. I mean, if there's like the 2 most beloved food categories, I'd probably say they're pizza and ice cream. So we're obviously figured out the right spot to be in. I mean, burgers and tacos, but anyway, I think ice cream, pizza reigns supreme. Well, fellas, I mean, I think I'm very proud of myself for making it this long without diving in. As soon as we're done, we're going to devour some of this, and I can't thank you enough for bringing the treats, for bringing yourselves, taking the time to come chat to us and tell us the difference between Bucceto's and Puccini's and why that is, and what it is that you guys are doing that makes everything special. And like you said, it's not rocket science. We're making it in-house. Right. And longstanding relationship with IU Athletics and just members and pillars of the community. So thank you guys so much for coming on here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, cheers, fellas. There you go. You can't laugh, Carrot. All right, here we go. There you go, little fella. Oh, what another great episode. Thanks so much to Season 7 presenting sponsor. Visit Bloomington. Check them out. Visit bloomington.com. As always, keep those hands dry. This episode of the No Dishes Podcast was recorded, edited, and produced by Garrett Portinga of Green Hat Media in beautiful downtown Bloomington, Indiana.
No Dishes Media.
No Dishes Media.